chicken and gravy and biscuits and chicken and gravy and the chickens with the biscuits on the gravy with the biscuits and the chicken.
Hi, this is Trey Pastor, and it's Saturday, so it's my day. And this week on the Horoscope 101 channel, it's backwards Redneck Horror Week. I think that's the right proper pronunciation of the theme this week. Okay, for that movie, had several choices, and I kind of narrowed it down to a couple. And then I saw it looking through my collection, and I found a movie that I blind bought. And I've had this movie for years and I haven't watched it. I think the reason I bought it is because of the stars that I saw in the credits, and I liked the cover art, I think, but I just never got around to watching it. And but since this falls into that category, this is a part of a three-movie thing. This is actually weird because it's the second movie. It's Hatchet 2, okay? The unrated theatrical cut. I remember buying this. I bought this, must have been maybe 2 years ago or whenever. I think this came out in 2010, I believe. Yeah, this came out in 2010, and I think I bought it a little bit after that, maybe in 2011 or something. I think that's when I bought it. Anyway, this movie is about, it's called Hatchet. It's about it takes place in Louisiana, I believe, and it's about a serial killer that's basically haunting, or a ghost. They call him the Bayou Butcher, Victor Crowley, who's haunting the swamps, okay, and basically killing anybody that dares venture into his territory. And I believe in the first movie, in Hatchet 1, a group of tourists went into the swamp, and of course, Victor Crowley was there to hack and cut them and kill them to pieces. And in this movie, at the end of that movie, there's a character called Mary Beth, and she's basically survived, which this is how the movie opens up with her struggling, getting away from Victor Crowley, okay, and getting rescued, okay, and it basically that's where the movie takes off. Now, a few facts about this. This movie stars Danielle Harris as Mary Beth. Now, in the first movie, there was a different actress who that played the character of Mary Beth. So I'm thinking they probably, without seeing the first movie, I'm assuming that they reshot that ending, that was in the first movie, since it's a totally different actress. Okay. Anyway, she gets rescued, and basically, when the man who rescued her, he's telling her about the Bayou Butcher and all the stuff that she already knows, and she tells him that he killed everybody. He killed everybody, and then when she tells him his name, he draws a gun on her and tells her to get out of here. There's the road, get out of here. Okay, and then she leaves, and of course, he keeps saying to himself, I didn't tell nothing, I didn't tell anything. And then all of a sudden, Victor Crowley shows up and killed. And the thing about this movie that I absolutely, first of all, let me say I love this movie to death. This movie is like 85 minutes long, but this movie is so, first of all, so violent, and the kills in this movie are so over the top and outrageous. It's just a treat to watch, actually. And basically, like I said, this movie is about Mary Beth. The character Mary Beth, played by Danielle Harris in this movie. She gets told to go see a Brother Voodoo. I think that's Tony Todd, who's in this movie also. That's his character's name, I think. It's called Brother Voodoo. No, Reverend Zombies. Why is it Brother Voodoo? That's a comic book character. Reverend Zombie. She gets told to go see him, and basically he explains the legend of the Bayou Butcher to her. And actually, you have Kane Hodder in there, who played Jason, of course, in the Friday the 13th movies, who played the Bayou Butcher, Victor Crowley, and the Hatchet 1, and in this movie also, and I think in the third movie as well. They actually show you a little of the backstory of his how Victor Crowley came to be. His, the deformed killer that's killing people in the swamp. They basically tell you his backstory, starting with his father, and how his father was living in the swamp with his wife, who got sickly ill. Okay, and then they were having a nurse coming over to tend to her. But of course, the father, Thomas Crowley, got lonely, and he, started having an affair with her, with the nurse that came to visit. And of course, the nurse got pregnant, and then his wife, who they thought was dead, wasn't really dead. She basically cursed him and cursed the baby. And of course, that baby grew up to be Victor Crowley, and it was born deformed, of course. And of course, the father kept it out of sight until a couple of kids basically set the cabin on fire that he was in, young Victor Crowley was in. And Thomas Crowley's father, trying to, open up the door to get him out, actually whacked him with an axe, and that basically killed him. Okay, but then of course Victor Crowley gets resurrected, and then from that point on, he starts to basically kill anybody that dares to come into that swamp. Okay, and then the premise of this movie is that Mary Beth, she goes to see Reverend Zombie because she wants to go recover the bodies of her father and her brother, I believe it is. Yeah, she wants to recover those bodies, so she seeks Reverend Zombie out, and he basically tells her the story, of course, which they show you in flashbacks. And then, of course, she wants to go back in to get the bodies of her relative. And Reverend Zombie actually operates basically a boat tour thing that he wants to, and his boat was last, of course, taken out in the previous movie where everybody else got killed, which is not a surprise. That's not a spoiler. But what I like about this movie is that it has a great mix of comedy and horror in it. I mean, first of all, the kills are just so over the top, and there's some really great kills in there. It's just really entertaining. And also, you got Danielle Harris, who's a good actress. She's good. And then you have Tony Todd, who's always good in everything he does. And then you have Kane Hodder, who actually you got to see him act when they did the reenactment of how he was taking care of his dying wife, and then how the nurse came along and they kind of fooled around and stuff. And Kane Hodder was pretty good, decent actor. Okay, and of course he plays Victor Crowley also in this movie. He plays his father, Thomas Crowley, and he plays Victor Crowley. And like I said, the kills in this movie are so outrageous and over the top. It's got to be seen to believe. And like I said, the basic story is Reverend Zombie has a plan, which I don't want to spoil, when he agrees to go back into the swamp with Mary Beth. He gathers a group of hunters and stuff, and then basically bribes them, saying that he's going to pay them money if they help him recover, his boat. Okay, that got lost in the last movie. And he, of course, brings along this assortment of characters that are just outrageous. And actually, the movie has a really pretty good sense of comedy in it, with the interactions between the various bounty hunters and stuff. And it's just really, really funny. And like I said, the kills in this movie are so outrageous and over the top. They have to be seen to believe. It's just, the kills are just beyond anything. It just has to be seen to believe. Okay, and like I said, the basic story, like I said, is Mary Beth wants to go back to recover the bodies of her brother and her father, and of course, she also wants revenge against the Victor Crowley for killing her brother and her father and her friends in the previous movie. Like I said, this movie is very entertaining, and just the violence is just, oh my God, just over the top. It'll have you just going, what the? You'd be looking at it going, did he really do that? It's just, oh my God. And there's this one kill in this movie, which I don't want to spoil, that literally is going to take your breath away when you watch it. It's just going to be, you're going to go, and you're going to probably rewind it like I did and say, what the? Oh, okay. So this definitely totally worth seeing. And again, I'm happy, like I said, I blind bought this and didn't watch it for I think about 2 years until I got it. And I actually was going through my movies to find a movie to pick for this week, and I actually found it and I watched it. And now I want to see part 1 and part 3 just to see, complete the trilogy. I want to see, because this part 2 is very entertaining and bloody and over the top. And the hunter guys, the actors that play the hunters are just, they're hilarious, and they throw in these one-liners and stuff, and it really keeps you entertained with their little sick humor amongst themselves and stuff. And then when the killing starts, it's woo. Like I said, Kane Hodder is great as Victor Crowley. Like I said, he's just, the kills he does are so fantastical. It just has to be seen to believe. Okay, and also Danielle Harris, like I said, she's good as Mary Beth, who's determined, of course, to go back in and kill Victor Crowley, or recover her parents, her brother and her father. That's what she says, but she wants to go back in to get revenge against Victor Crowley for killing her father and her brother and their friends. Okay, so definitely worth seeing. I can't highly recommend this more. Like I said, I've heard a lot of people talk about the Hatchet movies on YouTube and stuff, but to actually see it, I sat down and watched this, and it's just really, really a fun movie. Great violence and over-the-top violence, and a good, sense of humor and stuff. And just totally worth seeing that. Like I said, I want to get part 1 and part 3 and see, how it began and then how it ended. I guess that's 3 is the end. And a little trivia on this movie, I think was they were gonna release it. I forgot the company that was gonna release it, but they said because it was, the level of violence, they washed their hands of it. But AMC, apparently the theaters group, they liked it, so they debuted the film in theaters. And then I also thought there was a thing that said that once they found out that the level of violence in this, they yanked it. So it stayed in the movie theater, I think, over a weekend, but then it got yanked right back out. Okay, but this is totally worth seeing and worth owning. Like I said, it has a good mix of comedy, horror. It's just outrageously, and believe it or not, like I said, the actor, even the bad actors that play the basically cannon fodder, who play the hunters that are going out to the swamp, of course, on Reverend Zombie's promise to give them $500 each for catching Victor Crowley. And of course, he's not totally, this is not a spoiler, but Tony Todd's character, of course, is totally not on the up and up, in that you can tell from the way he acts. Okay, and like I said, and Danielle Harris, who's really good, you feel her anger and stuff, and her wanting to go out there and get revenge for the people that he killed, Victor Crowley. Okay, and like I said, there's a legend around Victor Crowley, of course, like I explained, I think, before, about how these kids, how he was cursed before he was born, and then he was born deformed, and then once he got deformed, and grew up, his father kept him hidden, of course, because his mother died in childbirth also, and then his father kept him hidden until some neighborhood kids basically set the cabin on fire with him in it, and the father, in his desperation to get young Victor out, whacked him in the head with the axe, of course, killing him, and thereby, because I think they even explained in the movie that Reverend Zombie explains to Danielle Harris' character, Mary Beth, that he doesn't die, that he's going to keep going until he gets his revenge against the people that wronged him. So it's a really, really entertaining movie. I definitely give this a 7 out of 10. It's just, really entertaining and just funny, and oh my God, the kills are just A++. That's all I gotta say about the kills. Just, you have to see some of the kills to believe them. Your eyes are gonna be, like I said before, you're gonna be, I can't believe that they just did that. Definitely shows you the power. It doesn't matter if you have a low budget or not. This is still a really entertaining movie. Like I said, bloody and violent, and some of the greatest kills in this movie whatsoever. And like I said, I like also that they explain Victor Crowley's background, so you got a little bit more in depth, about his life before he, got killed and kept coming back as a force of nature, in the swamps and stuff. Okay, so if you've seen this movie, let me know what you think. Feel free to leave your comments down below. And this is Trey Passer for the Horoscope 101 channel, saying so long and take care.